Another day, another story. Hello and welcome to this fascinating journey through the mystery of King Arthur. King Arthur is one of the most legendary figures in British history, and his existence has been the subject of much debate among scholars for centuries. Some believe that King Arthur was a legendary figure, created to serve as a symbol of British resistance against the invading Saxon armies. Others claim that he was a real person who lived in the 5th or 6th century AD and served as a leader of the Britons. But what is the truth about King Arthur? King Arthur is typically depicted as a powerful and just king who ruled over Britain during the 6th or 5th century AD. According to legend, King Arthur was the son of King Uther Pendragon and heir to the throne. He was raised by the wizard Merlin and eventually became the King of Britain, uniting the country and leading the Britons to victory against the invading Saxon armies. One of the most famous legends associated with King Arthur is the story of the sword in the stone, which tells of how Arthur was able to remove a sword from a stone and anvil, proving his right to be king. Another famous legend is that of the Knights of the Round Table, a group of brave and chivalrous knights who served King Arthur and went on adventures and quests. King Arthur is also often associated with the legendary wizard Merlin, who was said to have aided Arthur throughout his life and was instrumental in his rise to power. The legendary wizard is said to have had magical powers and was able to see into the future. One of the most famous stories about King Arthur is the quest for the Holy Grail, which was said to be the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper and was believed to have magical powers. The story of the quest for the Holy Grail is a central theme in many of the medieval tales and romances that feature King Arthur and his knights. But despite all of these legends and stories, there is limited historical evidence for King Arthur's existence, and much of what is known about him comes from later, often unreliable, sources. Nevertheless, King Arthur continues to be a popular and enduring figure, and his story has been retold and reinterpreted countless times in literature, art, and film. The legendary story of King Arthur's death is shrouded in mystery and varies greatly depending on the source. Some medieval tales and romances depict King Arthur as dying in battle against his traitorous nephew Mordred, while others describe him as being mortally wounded in battle but not actually dying. In some versions of the legend, King Arthur is said to have been taken to the Isle of Avalon to be healed of his wounds, and it is implied that he may return at a future time. In others, he is depicted as dying on the battlefield and being buried in a secret location. Despite the many different versions of the story, one of the most common themes is that King Arthur's death marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new, less glorious, time in British history. Some interpretations of the story suggest that King Arthur's death symbolizes the end of the old pagan ways and the triumph of Christianity in Britain. In conclusion, the exact details of King Arthur's death are unknown, and much of what is known about this period of his life is based on later, often unreliable, sources. Nevertheless, King Arthur continues to be a popular and enduring figure, and the story of his death is one of the many mysteries that continues to captivate people's imagination. So there you have it, the mystery of King Arthur, a legendary figure whose existence continues to captivate people's imaginations and inspire new generations. Thank you for joining us.